Okay, I'm gonna have us go live. It'll just take a second.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm heavily caffeinated. So hi, I also didn't say hi to you.
Yeah. Hi, it's okay. No, I know how all this stuff goes, and it's like getting the tech all like ready, and that's what I
Okay,
was.
I
Are we ready?
think we're good. Yeah, so let me just double check. I always want to make sure I've actually turned it on properly. And yep, we are live on YouTube. So, hi everybody. I'm Nina, and this is Jess, my friend. We're super excited to be here today to go through some EFT tapping and mindset. I met Jess a year ago, just over a year ago now, where she made me cry in a room full of people in the best way possible, like in the best way. Jess and I met at a summit in Denver, and when Jess did her presentation on tapping, I was like fully sobbing in the corner because it hit home so hard with so many of my money issues and my mindset issues. And it really started me on my mindset journey and also helped me realize that the weird tapping I've always done on my collarbone wasn't just a weird thing I do. It's actually a form of regulation, which was really, really cool. So, we're going to go through a lot of that with you guys today. And at the end, we're going to go and give you guys a freebie from me because I love to celebrate people who put their mindset first. So, if you stick around till the end, I'm going to be giving out my free scavenger hunt plugin, which is the plugin that I coded that got me 15,000 page views in just 2 days. So stick around for that. But in the meantime, I am very caffeinated, as you guys can probably tell, so a bit jumpy. So I'm going to let Jess take over and introduce herself to you and lead us through a really, really cool workshop and yeah, share anything she has to share with y'all because I know Jess has some amazing stuff. I will also say that Jess is a mindset and tapping coach. And if you are interested in doing more of this with her, I would 100% recommend it because she does Zoom calls as well. So even if you're not based in the US, like I'm not, you can still work with her.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nina, for having me. And I love, love, love your opening story about crying. Oh my gosh, at the summit, so fun. That's such a win in my world when people cry, which sounds so like, what? What do you mean that's a win? But experiencing our emotions is the best way to shift our mindset. So I'm going to get a little bit more into like the details on that um so you guys can know what's up with that. Sorry, we're just like getting set up tech wise. I'm gonna see if I can turn the people cry, which hold on, let me see 1 second. Just so I can see the chat.
Yeah, sorry, I realized I sent it to you and it would make noise for both of us as we did turn it on.
Let me mute it quick. Okay, I think I can see them, but if not, Nina, I'll just have you read them to me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody in the chat, I'll be in there with you guys. I'm also gonna be going along with this. So if I start crying, I start crying. I mean, you'll get to see it in action. Theo's already here, head in my lap, ready to do some service dog work. But yeah, I'll be kind of, I don't know, acting as Jess's VA today and going through the chat for you guys.
So cool. Well, thank you again for having me. As a little introduction to myself, so I left the corporate world back in 2019 in a flying leap of naive confidence. And I've never looked back since and have been a full-time entrepreneur since 2019. So I spent the first 3 years of my entrepreneurial journey as a career coach. I was coming out of a career in recruiting, so that was the most natural transition for me. It was a great introduction to the business world for me. And during this time was when I realized just how important our mindset is when it comes to running a successful business. So more on that in just a minute. But I was so deeply inspired by mindset work that I actually ended up burning down my entire career coaching business, letting go of everything that I had created, all of the followers, everything, and started a new business where I support entrepreneurs. So for the past 2 years, like Nina said, I have been a mindset coach and I use somatic tools. So somatic means it incorporates our body. For me in particular, I use EFT tapping and I use it to help entrepreneurs reprogram their brains for success. So I believe that 80% of our results as business owners come from our mindset and 20% from strategy. You need both. Both are crucially important. But if you don't have the right mindset, you're never going to be able to execute the strategy to its fullest potential, and you're never going to get the results that you could potentially have. So That's why mindset is the thing that I am most passionate about supporting people with. So I help people overcome inner challenges like procrastination, perfectionism, overthinking, people pleasing, all of that good stuff, so that they can show up as the confident and dynamic leaders that our businesses require in order to grow. So my plan for today, I'm going to talk you through some mindset concepts like we talked about that are impacting your business, and hopefully offer you some insight on why it might feel challenging to take the actions that you know you're supposed to be taking to grow your business and hit your next income level. And then we're going to be doing an interactive mindset activity where you will actually get to experience the somatic tool that I use with my clients to reprogram their brains. So if you stick with us to the end, like Nina said, she's got a special treat for you, and you will be able to walk away with some awesome insights for yourself. And it's possible that this session could unlock the missing piece that's needed to take your business to the next level. So I invite you to be open, and the more that you participate, the more you will get out of it. So I'm going to kick it off by introducing to you guys a mindset concept that you have maybe heard of before, and that is our beliefs influence our thoughts influence our emotions influence our actions, and our actions influence our results. So it's this whole chain reaction, right? Starting with our beliefs, which going all the way through ends up with what results are we getting in our business. So here's an example of how it might show up for you as an entrepreneur. If you're carrying an inner, so like subconscious, right? A deep belief that I need to be perfect. If you have that belief when your business coach, someone like Nina, says, hey, in order to grow your blog, you're going to have to start posting more content. Like, we need to increase like the amount of content that you're putting out there, right? You might have the thought, oh my God, but my content isn't ready yet. It's not good enough. It's not perfect. And that thought might bring up the emotion, fear, right? Oh, well, I can't put myself out there. It's not ready yet. It's not good enough. Like, what are people going to think of this blog post, right? Or whatever it is that you're creating. And when you're experiencing fear, our emotions around the action that you're supposed to take, this is when you start to come up with all sorts of creative reasons to avoid taking the action, right? You got to clean your closet, you got to do the dishes, you got all these better things that you need to be doing instead of doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing to grow your business. So it's actually your mindset and specifically your emotions that are getting in the way here. Your belief of I need to be perfect is causing that in that chain reaction for you to behave in a way that isn't supporting you in growing your business in the way that you want. It's actually slowing down your business growth. So sometimes we struggle to break through limiting beliefs because we're trying to do it again from our heads instead of from our hearts and our emotions. So if we're trying to think our way through what is actually an emotional challenge, it's not really going to work, because if you're already onto the emotion part of the equation, you are past thoughts. So it's beliefs, thoughts, emotions, actions, results. So it can be really hard to shift your thoughts, the second part of the equation, right? Because you're already in the emotional experience. So it's kind of like when we try to use affirmations that are too far out of reach. So if you try to tell yourself, I am a millionaire, and you're not, like, you could say it, you can think that, you can have the thought all you want, but in your body, emotionally, you're like, no, like, I know that's not true. So in order to move backwards through this chain and shift our beliefs, which is the starting point, with the intention of getting better results on the other side, we can't do so purely logically. We need to start by taking action on shifting those emotions. So I'm going to give you guys an example of what this was like for one of my clients. I find that examples help people have a better understanding, because mindset work can be a little ambiguous too. So I'm going to tell you about my client, Kelsey. When Kelsey joined my Radiant Self-Belief program, she was doing awesome, posting on TikTok and Instagram, had really big followings there, like 20K plus, but had a really hard time showing up on LinkedIn, which was a big problem for her because LinkedIn was the obvious place that a ton of her ideal clients were hanging out, because she was a career coach. And so her thoughts were saying things like, oh, my content sucks compared to everyone else on LinkedIn. I can't be my authentic self on LinkedIn. I look so cringy promoting my business, promoting my things that I'm making for people. And so she knew that her mindset around posting on LinkedIn was the thing that was actually blocking her from doing it. So how most people try to solve mindset problems is by trying to use this like just push through method. It's kind of like the, oh, well, just suck it up, you're being a baby type of energy, like just do it. And that doesn't really work very well. It might work temporarily, but it's not a sustainable solution because you're not addressing the root cause of your resistance. So, again, the reason that you are blocked in whatever capacity that you're blocked is because your body is having an emotional response to taking that action. Your body is saying, oh my God, it might not be safe for me to do this. And this is all happening under the surface, right? Until we start doing the mindset work and like bring it forward. So, even just me sharing this with you is going to up your self-awareness to start thinking like, what am I not feeling safe to do under the surface, right? So it's our bodies, our emotions that are getting in the way, which is what was happening to my client, Kelsey. So in working together, we discovered that Kelsey had this deep underlying belief that she wasn't professional. She wasn't professional enough to be posting on LinkedIn, which is really interesting and specific. So we dug into like, where did this belief come from? And so, in scanning Kelsey's past life experiences and her memories and all the things that she had been through, we realized that she had had various experiences in the corporate world where she cried. And these were memories where she felt the emotion shame. She was super, super embarrassed that she had cried at work. She was really embarrassed by her reactivity in those situations. And so that was the past. But to circle back to her present day problem, being visible on LinkedIn, a more professional platform, was subconsciously triggering all these old memories and preventing her from feeling safe to show up there. Her body did not want to re-experience that emotion of shame. It's like, oh, not safe for me to show up in a professional space. It might be really uncomfortable. That's where the mindset block comes in. So that's what's really happening beneath the surface. The possibility of taking this new action is triggering old memories where you experienced an emotion that was uncomfortable. Something like embarrassment, fear, which is perfect. We're going to work on that today. And your mind is just trying to keep you safe and prevent you from recreating that experience. So instead of just pushing through it, because that's uncomfortable and doesn't work well, what you need to do instead is reprogram your brain to actually feel safe taking the action. So my client, Kelsey, we went through the reprogramming process in my program. What her life looks like now, she's posting on LinkedIn 3 to 5 times a week, actually feeling confident and good about it. She's no longer worried about people watching her and judging her. That was a big one. Like, ooh, are all of my previous colleagues from the corporate world, like, what are they thinking of me? They're probably judging me. So that is like gone for her, freedom and that. And she's also signing clients from LinkedIn. So her business has actually exploded since we've done this work together, which is super cool. She's maxed out at 19 one-on-one clients. She's got so many. So it's been awesome to see that reprogramming her brain to feel safe being visible in this professional space was the key to her feeling really deeply confident and at peace with being visible. And as a result, growing her business and bringing on clients. So I'm sure you can parallel that to something in your own experience, your own journey. And if you want to feel awesome and like things are flowing and confident, being visible, maybe it's charging higher prices, maybe it's like posting the content on your blog or doing interviews, right? Doing podcasts, public speaking, whatever it is that's your next step in growing your business. You need to address the root cause of your resistance to having that epic, amazing experience that you say that you want. We can do this via your emotions and the use of somatic tools that incorporate our bodies. And I'm going to let you guys experience the tool that I use with my clients today. So we're going to focus today on the emotion fear, and we're going to be using EFT tapping to support you in moving through the fear that's coming up for you around something specific in your business. So if you have tried tapping before, put yes in the chat. If you're like, what the heck are we talking about? I have no idea what's going on, put a no. And we will just see where everyone is at.
We already had a couple people early on say that they had tried tapping, and someone even said that they tried, but it's the consistency that they struggle with, which I think is a really interesting point, because just like blogging, like anything with mindset, consistency is so key. Like it really is the thing that will change everything for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, and there's some yeses, one no, a couple no's. Okay. Perfect. So tapping is a mind-body modality that supports us in processing our emotions. It's scientifically proven to reduce fear and anxiety, and it, on the deepest level, allows us to shift our limiting beliefs. So I use this tool in my Radiant Self-Belief program to help clients feel confident about putting themselves out there online, taking up space, using their voices powerfully, asking for what they want, asking for collaborations, all that good stuff, and really letting go of caring what people think of them is typically what a lot of this can come down to. So again, the reason that mindset work like this is important is because your business coach, Nina, is giving you awesome, amazing strategies to grow your business. But if you are too scared to execute that strategy, if you're not going to be consistent, like she said, in executing it, your inner fears are going to hold you back from taking that action, and you're not going to get the results that you want. So the mindset work is really the foundation of success when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And when we can gain freedom from those inner barriers, that's when we become unstoppable. So to dive into the activity that I've planned for all of you, if you feel safe to do so, I would love to have you close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath and let it go. And I want you to identify something in your business right now that makes you feel scared. So maybe you're scared of posting all the blogs that are in your drafts, scared of being visible online. Maybe you're scared about having a challenging business conversation if you've got a team or people that you're working with, scared of asking for collaborations. Maybe you're scared of taking a break. Maybe there's a part of you that fears that everything will crash and burn if you take a break and let yourself rest. So I want you to identify something specific that brings up fear. And then I want you to notice in your body, where do you feel that fear? Maybe it's in your chest, or like a flipping feeling in your stomach. Where does the fear live? And as you think about this thing in your business, how intense is the fear when you think about it on a scale of 0 to 10? So 0 is neutral. Nope, I'm no fear around this. 10 is the most intense that the fear could be. So identify 0 to 10. And I want you to pick a scenario that's somewhere between a 4 and an 8. If you picked out something that's higher than an 8 in intensity, it's better to work on one-on-one, not awesome in a group setting because you don't have individual support. So pick something a little bit less intense if you're at a 9 or 10. But once you've got your situation identified, I want you to open your eyes and put it in the chat for us, and put how intense is that fear for you. So what is something that you're scared of in your business? Maybe a next step you get to take. And how intense is the fear? 0 to 10. And while I wait for you guys to type it in and share, the reason, again, that I'm having you identify the emotion fear is because our emotions are more powerful than logic. So you may logically know, hey, it's going to be good for me to reach out to other people for guest posts or collaborations, right? But your emotions are going to get in the way of you executing that. It's going to be your fear, your embarrassment, anxiety, not feeling good enough, right? All of that comes down to emotions that are going to stop you from following through on doing the reach outs or whatever it is. So we're going to focus on moving fear through your body today so that it doesn't have such a strong hold on you anymore, and so that you can feel more confident taking whatever that next step is for you. I am scared of Google the most. I'm 100% scared of not deserving success. Writing guest posts, being visible online, and posting on social media. Okay, perfect. Photos of myself, perfect. Okay, these are awesome. And we've got 8, 7, 6, 7, 8. Okay, perfect. So here's how it's going to work. You guys are going to be physically tapping on pressure points in your body while feeling that fear, feeling that like 7 out of 10 fear, a little 6 out of 10, wherever that lives in your body. You're just going to let it come up. And as we tap on the pressure points, we're actually sending a calming signal to your brain. So we are telling your brain, I am safe. Everything is okay here. There's no need for me to freak out right now. So I'm going to teach you guys the pressure points. So you can basically just follow along and copy me. The first one is on the side of your hand, the crown of your head, the top of your head and towards the back, We've got your eyebrow. So this is where your eyebrow meets your nose. And for the face points, you can do one, you can do the other, you can do both, whatever feels best for you. It all works. Side of your eye, so on the bone right there. Under your eye, so this is under your pupil on your cheekbone. Under your nose, kind of weird. And the dip of your chin. Your collarbones, if you feel you got your two bones there just an inch below your collarbone. It's kind of like an indent. And then the last one is under your arm. So it's not in your armpit, but on your rib cage below your armpit. Also kind of a weird one. Okay, so these are the points that we're going to use. And as we tap, I just want you to hold an awareness for any new thoughts that come to you. So you'll likely find the voice that lives inside of all of our heads piping up, and just notice what it has to say. So you might make some new connections while we tap. You might think some new thoughts, right? Have some new insights. So whatever's there, just allow it to come up. The process is really simple. You are just going to tap on the points that I tap on, like follow the leader, and you are going to repeat after me. And you guys are all on live on YouTube, so no one's going to hear you. No one's going to hear you speaking out loud. So it's perfect. So you'll repeat after me, and we're also going to have some fill in the blank parts of the tapping. So I might say something like, I feel, say how you feel. And you guys would say, I feel scared. I feel so worried about this. I feel like I'm never going to make it. Whatever. It's kind of just like word vomit. Like whatever's there, you just let it come out. You're not going to do it wrong. It's all part of the process, and it's part of the beauty of this work. So just look at the chat one more time. Scared of people giving people wrong advice, perfection. Yeah, it's great that you recognize it as that. We've got quite a few visibilities. Yeah, don't tap too hard. That was Laura's question. How hard? You don't need to be like banging yourself in the head. It's just like
That was like also because like I definitely even when I do acupuncture and stuff, same thing. And interestingly, I did acupuncture yesterday, so I'm gonna be goo after this. But we did a lot of the same points, and same thing. It's like it's not supposed to be the most pain or anything. She'll be like, "Can you feel it?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I know you stuck a needle into me, but it doesn't hurt." And she's like, "That's the right, like it shouldn't hurt. You should not be crying because it hurts. Like if it unlocks something, great, but." With this, it's all about like, I don't know, it should feel kind of like a hug, is kind of how I would say. Like it feels like that same comfort of someone like slightly patting your back, not the weird bro hug patting your back, I guess.
exactly. Lightly. We're being gentle with ourselves. That's perfect. Okay. So we're going to get started. Like I said, just tap where I tap, repeat after me, fill in the blanks with whatever's appropriate for you. We're going to do 4 rounds of tapping today. So I'm going to keep track of the time as we go, and we're going to get started on the side of our hand. Okay, so you guys are all just going to tap here and repeat after me. Even though there's this thing in my business and I feel scared about it, I acknowledge how I feel. It's okay that I'm scared, and I'm just getting curious about it. Even though there's this thing with my business and I feel scared, I feel fear, I acknowledge how I feel. It is okay that I feel this way. And I'm just getting curious about it. Okay, perfect. So take a breath and go to the top of your head. This thing in my business, it's making me feel scared. Feeling all this fear. I'm letting myself feel it today. It's okay for me to acknowledge this fear. I feel this fear in my, where do you feel it in your body? I feel this fear in my, where is it in your body? I'm just noticing what it feels like. Feeling all this fear. I'm so scared. Part of me is really worried and anxious about this. I'm so worried about the outcome. What's going to happen? Can't control it. I don't know what it's going to be like. That uncertainty scares me. Feeling all this fear. I feel it in my, where do you feel it in your body? All this fear in my stomach, my chest, my head. Where does it live for you? I'm allowing myself to feel how scared I am. It's okay that I'm afraid. I don't need to rush to change it. And I am breathing into this fear. This situation in my business. This thing with my business. Just thinking about it makes me fearful. It makes me so uncomfortable. I'm just noticing all of this fear. It's okay that I have this fear. I am breathing into it. Breathing into this fear. And I'm honoring how I feel. Okay, perfect. Everyone pause here for a second. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Okay, and just reconnect with how you're feeling. Notice what's happening in your body. Notice what thoughts are coming up, right? And we're going to go again. Even though I've been feeling this fear, and it makes it hard to move forward. It's okay that this is happening to me. Nothing is wrong with me. And I've been doing the best that I can. Even though I've been feeling all of this fear. And it can be hard to move forward. It can be hard to keep taking action. It's okay that this is happening. Nothing is wrong with me. And I've been doing the best that I can. Okay, breathe in through your nose. I've been feeling so scared. Part of me feels so worried and anxious. I've been feeling scared because, why are you scared? I've been feeling scared because, why else are you scared? I'm really fearful. It's really uncomfortable. It's been blocking me from growing bigger. I'm acknowledging all of this fear. Allowing myself to feel it. to notice what it feels like in my body. All of this fear. Thinking about this situation, this aspect of my business. I have some unsupportive thoughts. My unsupportive thoughts are saying, what unsupportive thoughts do you have around this? My unsupportive thoughts are saying, what are they saying? All the little mind gremlins. You're never going to make it. People are going to judge you. You're not good enough for this. My unsupportive thoughts are saying, what are they saying? Maybe these thoughts are true. Maybe they're not true. These thoughts feel pretty true. And it's possible that they're not true. It's okay that I'm scared. It's okay that I feel this way. Thinking about this aspect of my business. It's totally okay that I'm afraid. And maybe I can let go of this. Because how is this fear actually serving me? It's just trying to protect me. Maybe I don't need its protection. It's possible I could let go of this. Maybe I'm open to shifting. And I'm open to doing that on my own timeline. Okay, pause again, take a breath. Let it go. So sometimes our minds wander while we tap. We can go into kind of a meditative experience thing. Different things are happening, right? Making new connections, having insights. So if you've got something, I'm going to give you a second right now to write it down. If there's anything you want to record, anything that's coming up for you. If you guys experience yourself yawning or burping, so weird, it's a good thing. It means that your body's calming down, your energy's shifting. So go for it. If you feel the urge to yawn, just like let it happen. And I'm going to have you imagine your situation again. And I want you to check in. How intense does the fear feel now, 0 to 10? And give me an update in the chat. So we're about like the halfway point. So there's plenty of time to keep going, but this is a little check-in. Where are you at with the fear, 0 to 10? Okay, 4 out of 10, down from 7. That's perfect.
Yeah, there's like a minute and a half delay, I think, with
That's kind of long.
you have to wait for a second. It's so weird to me because I said it not to have one, but it always does.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, we'll see where everyone's at. And wherever you are, it's okay. Wherever you are is beautiful because sometimes, okay, perfect. Some people are coming down. Sometimes we go up, right? Sometimes once we start tapping, we're like, oh my God, I'm really afraid of this because I hadn't really let myself connect with the fear, right? I hadn't let myself connect with the emotions. So if your numbers are going up, it's okay. There's more tapping to go. So this is just a quick check-in. Okay, so we've got people more at like 4, 5, 6 level. Kaylee's down from 7. Perfect. Okay. So connect with that situation again, right? Connect with that fear. Notice where it is in your body and just allow it to be there. And we're going to do another round, okay? So you can go back to the side of your hand. Even though I've been struggling with this thing in my business, I'm feeling scared. I'm open to forgiving myself. And I'm open to believing. that I can feel differently about it, even though I've been feeling really fearful with this part of my business. I forgive myself for feeling this way. And I'm open to believing that I could feel differently about this. Okay, deep breath through your nose. All this fear when I think about this part of my business, when I think about how I get to show up, I've been feeling really scared. I'm open to forgiving myself for this. It's okay that I'm afraid. Totally makes sense that I'm worried about this. And I don't need to rush to change it. All this fear. What if it was possible for me to let go of it? What would it take for me to let go of this fear? I'm breathing deeply into this fear. All this fear in my body. I'm feeling it start to relax. The fear is just here to protect me. I don't need to believe what it tells me. It's okay for it to be here. And I don't need to let it rule my life. I'm breathing into this fear. How would I show up if I wasn't afraid? So I want you to say that out loud. How would I show up? Would you be courageous, passionate, excited, bold, loving? How would you be if you weren't afraid? If I wasn't afraid, I would be what? Confident, maybe. If I wasn't afraid, I would be maybe it's possible for me to feel this way. Maybe it's possible for me to set down my fear. I don't have to fully get rid of it. Maybe I can move forward even though I'm scared. My fear is just trying to protect me. And maybe I don't need protection. It's possible for me to be courageous. I'm open to believing I can let go of this fear. Okay, pause here, take a breath. Reconnect with your situation. We're going to do one final round, okay? Come back to the side of your hand. Even though part of me has felt scared about this thing in my business, another part of me knows that I can handle it and that I am okay. And I choose to connect with that part of myself. Even though part of me has felt scared about this part of my business, another part of me knows that I can handle it. And I am okay. And I'm choosing to connect with this part of myself. Okay, breathing through your nose. It's okay that I felt scared. And I'm willing to let go of this fear now. Noticing any fear remaining in my body. I'm giving it permission to drift away. It is safe for my fear to melt away. I'm watching this fear leave my body. Starting to feel more calm. Starting to feel more grounded. I'm breathing deeper. And connecting with a feeling of peace. What will I replace this fear with? How would I love to feel? I would love to feel, say it out loud, confident, brave, passionate, excited. I would love to feel. And there's absolutely a part of me that feels this way. Connecting with that part of myself now. How does it feel in my body to feel the way I want to feel? I'm connecting with what that feels like. I'm allowing myself to feel it. To feel excited and confident. To feel bold and courageous. To feel worthy and accepted. Noticing what that feels like. Thinking about my situation. What is the best case scenario? We get so worried about the worst case scenario. But what would be the best case scenario? How would I feel in the best case scenario? I'm allowing myself to feel that way. Noticing what it feels like. And expanding this feeling in my body. I choose to feel. How do you choose to feel? I choose to feel. I choose to feel. How do you choose to feel? I'm connecting with this part of myself. Breathing deeply. And choosing to love myself through this. I can handle this. And it is possible to have a best case scenario. Okay, pause here, take a deep breath. And let go. And one more time, I'm going to have you imagine your chosen situation that brings up fear. Where is that fear now? 0 to 10. And put it in the chat for us. And I also want you to notice, how have your feelings or perception changed around this aspect of your business? So you might have had some insights. If you have, please tell them to us in the chat. We would love to read them and hear about like what came up for you. Like I said, it's common for people to make new connections and even solutions to business problems while we're tapping, because we're calming your body down and allowing the blood to flow back to your brain so that you can think more clearly, critically, creatively, all of that stuff. If you are someone who didn't feel a shift, it's totally okay. You would simply need to keep tapping. Everyone's kind of in their own space, right? And so this is a very small example of what's possible with tapping. We're just kind of barely scratching the surface of what's possible here today. So I use this tool on an even deeper level with my one-on-one clients where we proactively reprogram their brains to not experience so much of a fear response in the first place. So that's something we can talk about too if people are interested. But let's see where people are at. Okay, so we've got 3, 2 now. I feel like mush, a 2, 3, 3. Perfect. That's amazing. So awesome. So you guys can come back to this. It's going to live on Nina's YouTube, right? So you can come back, and even if you didn't feel a shift or you want to feel more of a shift, just like do it again, because sometimes, depending on what state your body is in, it might just take a little bit longer for it to come down from whatever you're experiencing, in this case, the fear response. So that is what I have for you guys today. I'm open to doing a Q&A if people have questions. I'll let you say what we want to do next, but I'm open to mindset questions if you have them.
Yeah, let's everyone pop your mindset questions in the chat and I will direct them to Jess for you guys. I definitely want to say, even for myself, there was a few moments there I was fighting off tears a little bit, because this is the thing, you dig into stuff and it's like private therapy in some ways. And I've been doing therapy since I was 7, so about 21 years of therapy now, which is a lot of bills. But it really this is kind of a different somatic release, where I think in therapy, you have to be in your head. And as someone who struggles to feel her emotions and to express her emotions, this is one of those moments where it kind of lets you get in touch with your inner child, because that's children just feel. And when they're upset, they bang on things, they touch things. And this is something that as adults, we don't do, or we're told not to do. And you're so rigid and everything. And I think, I don't know, I feel like mush too, 100%. After this, I'm going to lie down and cry with Theo on the floor for a minute, because you just need to let it out. And someone said too that they struggle with when they just feel anger and they lash out. And I found that's something too, where there can be reasons that you're doing that and you're feeling it in your body, but you don't know how to express it or how to, release it. And it's I don't know, I created this thing called rage yoga, where I just do yoga instead of breathing out. I swear as loud as I can for that kind of thing too. Because again, we're told, especially as women, for Jess and myself, I know some of you guys aren't, you can't express those things. You can't be upset. You can't be whatever. And it's also why I love pranayama breathing, because you're supposed to breathe loudly and breathe through your stomach and all these things that so many of us are breathing in our ribs to not puff out our tummies or something. So I obviously, before we even get into all the questions, I really wanted to thank Jess for joining us today. And first of all, Jess also looks amazing. Jess has the most beautiful eyes, and I'm always sitting here hypnotized as she taps, because I'm oh, so pretty. I love your eyes. But also just the calming presence that you brought to everybody, especially on a Monday, especially end of year, we're all getting into whether or not we hit our goals. I know many of us didn't. I'm not going to hit my yearly goal, and that's okay. And it does not mean that you are a failure or a horrible person or anything. It just means that it didn't happen, and that's all right. And especially as we go into Christmas, when families can be terrifying and horrible at the dinner table. I used to, even when I would go to the gym, I would tap as I was on the treadmill and things like that, just trying to center myself. So that's totally okay. And I hope you guys can use this in all of your life, honestly, even just for those little things, just giving yourself that time. So yeah, we've already got questions pouring in that I'll start asking, but I'm also going to drop the link in the chat to where you guys can get the plugin for free. There's no time limit on this, so you guys can grab it whenever, so don't run away to grab it. But I just want to drop it in before I forget, so I'm going to put the link in there. But if someone wants to type it in, it's sheknowsseo.co/plugin, so you guys can grab it really easily that way. You just put in your email and then you'll get all of the information on how you get it. Okay. So we have a lot of people, wow, that went down really, really far. A lot of people realizing things. Someone asked, Marcus says, what do you do when the fear/anxiety comes back? Do you repeat the exercise?
Yeah, so this is a great question to talk about reactive tapping versus proactive tapping, because I find that a lot of people in entrepreneur world are actually familiar with tapping, and like quite a few on the call were like, yes, I've done it before, which is great. So from my perspective, there's two different ways that we can do tapping. There's reactive tapping, which is like, oh my God, I like have to get on this live stream and I'm so nervous and I'm going to say something wrong, right? And you use the tapping in that moment to calm yourself down. That's a little more similar to like what we were doing today, is kind of like we had to manufacture it, right? By saying like, visualize this thing, but it brings up fear in our body, right? Because we don't know what the difference is between a thought and reality. So you can use tapping reactively. Most people know it in that capacity. So I would say, yes, do the activity again, keep tapping until that fear is released from your body when it comes up. But you can also use tapping proactively. So this is more what I do with my clients. Like we talked about at the beginning, if you were here for the example, things in our past are being triggered, is why we're in a fear response. So like, I know some people were talking about visibility, right? Like sharing photos, like posting things, like as entrepreneurs, we get to oftentimes be the face of our business, right? And that can be really uncomfortable. Something happened in the past where you learned that it wasn't safe to be in the spotlight. It wasn't safe to put yourself out there. So maybe you were bullied, maybe you were made fun of. I know one of my clients, we tapped on an experience that she had where she was in 5th grade at camp and she couldn't roll up her sleeping bag. And she cried and was really embarrassed and like didn't want anyone to see her in that state, right? So proactive tapping, what I'm doing more often with my clients is scanning those past memories to say, like, when did you first feel like this? When did you first feel like it wasn't safe to be seen? When did you first feel like you weren't worthy of having success? Or maybe something bad happened when you did awesome, right? And the tapping, because we're incorporating the body, it kind of like breaks that connection, if that makes sense. So we use tabletops as an example in tapping. So the top of the table is the belief. We'll just use it's not safe to be seen. You had all these experiences where you learned that the bullying, like someone made fun of the birthmark on your face, right? All the different things. When we tap on each of those individual scenarios, it's the equivalent of breaking a leg off the table. So we're cutting all of those connections. And once you cut enough of them, you don't have to do all of them, which is cool. But once you cut enough, the belief doesn't have any evidence anymore and it collapses. And you're like, okay, actually, it's not a big deal for me to be seen online, right? Actually, I'm so worthy and deserving of having this big, awesome business. So I hope that gives a little more context, is like reactively, yes, keep doing the tapping anytime it comes up. If you want to work on it proactively, that's when you can start to not have the fear response as much. Like you might feel a little prickle and you're like, okay, whatever, I'm fine, as opposed to a full-on body like response to it. So
And I think that's like with proactive tapping, it's where you need to be in a safe place physically and emotionally for it. And like, this is going to sound very dramatic, but it's kind of like, I don't know, I've never done shrooms myself because I'm very afraid of it. But I think it's kind of the same idea. Like you need to have somebody there who can kind of guide you through it. Because the problem for me, I remember when Jess did her first session, I realized one of my money fears goes back to my family. And my parents were divorced when I was very young. And because they didn't speak to each other, my sister and I had to deal with like the financial passing between the two of them for like, okay, my sister plays hockey, so we need to like get the check for Sophie's hockey gear and then like bring it along, and then someone will complain about like how expensive we are, and just parents doing their thing. But I locked on to that, and it's something I didn't realize because I've repressed most of my childhood, bad memory, I just don't remember things. So I didn't know I had that, and figuring that out alone, if I had been sitting alone in a room feeling that, I would have just had a panic attack. And if you're not in a place to feel that, that's where someone like Jess really, really helps, because someone can work through it with you. And a lot of times it's not just breaking that table leg, like you need to see the table leg and then break it. And so sometimes you need someone else's help to do that. And that's where, I don't know, like any therapy, you kind of need someone else to help you through it. You can talk to a wall, but it's not going to do anything back to you. And it might even rebound the negativity. So be careful, especially if you hit something that someone was saying before, that under their arm was really painful. Sometimes we have to just skip those things for a minute. And it's like, this is maybe not the time to touch on that. Like Jess was saying, this is not a 10 scenario. And for me, that was a 10 thing. Like I have a diagnosed money phobia, which is super fun to deal with. Yeah, it's a weird thing that I didn't know people could have. And so for me, I can't sit here and deal with money phobias and stuff like that by myself because I will just spiral. So I would say, yeah, repeat it, but just, I don't know, pick the scab that's almost healed, not the one that's gonna like send you to the ER, I guess.
Yeah, and that's such a great point about like that's why we hire coaches and even therapists, right? And tapping practitioners like myself, because when I am working with people one-on-one, like I've had clients where whatever we're working on is they're like, I am heading towards panic attack. Great, because we're one-on-one and they can communicate that to me. They're like, I am 10 out of 10. I then know as the practitioner is like, okay, now we get to use like this other set of strategies to bring their body back down and make them feel safe and calm. Because yeah, what I love about tapping in my training is not like rip into everything and like, this gets to be a gentle process. So that's, yeah, exactly what I said. If you're 10 out of 10, you get to pick something a little bit less intense for today. So thank you for sharing your personal experience. I love hearing that.
Yeah. Kaylee then asked, do you have a YouTube channel of videos like this that are of other topics?
I do have a YouTube channel. I only have 3 videos so far, but they're awesome if you want to go check them out. And I will be adding to it. So I've got one on like not doing enough. That one seems to really resonate with people like, oh my gosh, I should be doing more for my business, clearing energy for a new month, like all sorts of other entrepreneur. They're all entrepreneur focused because that's what I wanted when I was starting my business. I had tapping videos on YouTube, but they weren't for entrepreneurs. So my YouTube is Jess Smith Coaching. People want to go check that out.
All right, I'll drop that in the chat in a second. But our next question was, does it matter which hand we should tap the side of?
Nope. I mean, obviously crown of your head is just crown of your head, but any that have 2, you can do one, you can do the other, you can do both. Tapping is actually derived from acupuncture, which is cool. So these are acupressure points. They're on both sides. They kind of mirror. So either one will work.
Yeah, I like halfway through, I started switching just because I like things to be even in my little OCD brain. And that's kind of the cool thing is like there's no wrong way to do this. And even if there's one, like for me, the chest always feels best. So that's where I'll come back to over and over again, especially like throughout the day or something. So you don't always have to do a full cycle, which is kind of nice. And I find even during a panic attack, it's a good little kind of grounding tool. That even like my mom used to do it when we were younger. She would do speeches and she hates public speaking. So you would always see her like slamming her hand into her chest. And then when I was like, hey, maybe just a light one, maybe don't like break your clavicle every time. But she found comfort in that feeling. And that's really the cool thing with this.
Yeah, our bodies are trying to self-soothe because even if you think about like people do this when they're stressed, like, right? There's a pressure point there. Your body knows, oh, hey, if I like touch this, this is gonna make me feel better. This is gonna like release tension. And so it's interesting how we naturally self-soothe too.
No, I think that's amazing. I think we've come to the end of the questions, but if anyone has more questions for Jess, she has her YouTube channel, Jess Smith. I also have in the description of this video a link to her site, jesssmithcoaching.com, where you can find more of her. You can definitely, like, honestly, I recommend hiring Jess if you need any more of this. It is so helpful to work through things. And it's not just for entrepreneurial stuff. Like there's tons of feelings of different things that hit into entrepreneurship. So like someone I just saw quickly, someone said, is there different stuff you could do for grief? 100%. I'm going to say that even without like Jess is nodding, but even without asking, because this is the thing, like those all impact entrepreneurship. And because you are your business, anything that impacts you impacts the business. So I think this was amazing. And yeah, this will be up. So definitely rewatch it. And I go through kind of some cycles of tapping over and over again. And the cool thing is like the same words will bring up different things each time, and you can hit on different fears each time. And yeah, you can really just connect with yourself. And I think it's kind of nice too if you're someone who maybe doesn't do therapy and you've never really adventured into that. This is something you can start on your own to just start sensing your body and yourself. Because it can be really hard to like sit down and talk to a stranger about your deepest, darkest fears. And sometimes you don't even know what those fears are at first. Like you don't know how to say them. And this can help you start to find them and feel them. I do acupuncture now, but I didn't before because I was afraid of the needles. I do love acupuncture, so I do recommend it. But this is a great also like kind of starting acupuncture almost like if you're or if you have a phobia of needles, like this is a great way to go through it. And like I am regularly crying on my acupuncturist table and like telling her life stories. Not everyone feels comfortable with that. So if that's a hard thing for you, this is a really good way to do it, yeah, on your own. And I think that's really lovely. And I'm so thankful to Jess for being here, and for agreeing to do this for y'all, because every time I see Jess talk, it is genuinely life changing. Like something new comes up each time. And that's the really powerful thing about this. So, Jess, thank you so, so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. Thank you for the opportunity to share. This is my life's passion work. I have so much fun doing it, offering it to people. I actually brought my abundance crystal today because I was like, oh, my intention is that, whatever gets to be released today is going to support everyone here in creating more abundance in their life, whatever that looks like for them. So thank
Yes.
you
I
for the
think
opportunity to share my gifts.
perfect. And I think that's like so important, guys. Like this is all about, yeah, improving your business. And also thank you to everybody for joining us, for taking the time. Like this was an hour of your life that you took for yourself. And that wasn't like, I don't know, I know a lot of you guys watch my videos and spend an hour learning a strategy, but just taking the time for you is important. I took this weekend like completely off work, sat on my couch and read fan fiction, like went to acupuncture, and it helps. So taking these moments for yourself are really, really, really important. And even if you think you only have 5 minutes, there's never too much time or too little time to take time for you. Yeah.
That. Love that.
Okay, we're going to sign off for everybody. So I'm going to end the stream now. So bye, everybody.